I wanted to mention something to start with because forfeiture is such a thing that people are like, it's evil. You're seizing things. You're taking things from people. It's unconstitutional. It's terrible. Look what you've done. And plus, maybe you might make some money. My name is Harry S. Pete Connolly, Jr. I happen to be the city attorney of Las Cruces. There's a recent case out of the Court of Appeals. It has to do with red light cameras. But if I were a city lawyer, I would read it for seizure because it has to do with nuisance. And it takes care of every argument that the dark side could raise, the dark side being the defense bar. The cities only represent truth and light and justice. You use 30-8-9. What is that? That's part of the criminal code. What does it say? Well, it says to enforce a public nuisance, you bring a verified complaint in the district court in the name of the state. So that's how you get there. We picked the format that said if you have a conviction of DWI someplace in the world, we can bust you and seize your vehicle. That's what we did. No one talks about if you find somebody and you make money that you're evil. And the Supreme Court sets this up, or pardon me, the Court of Appeals, cert denied, says a system that simultaneously raises money and improves compliance with traffic laws has much to recommend it. So you have the Court of Appeals affirmed by the Supreme Court basically saying if you make money on motor vehicle seizures, it's okay. Don't feel bad. How many of you read the Wall Street Journal? Anybody read the Wall Street Journal? Okay, last Friday, the editorial is just as exciting as you can have it. It's all about the city of brotherly love in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia has a forfeiture law ordinance. I don't know what it is, but it's the city of Philadelphia. And the fact situation that brings this editorial to light is a young guy of 22 years old is selling dope out of his daddy's house. And he sells the dope and he gets caught. And so he's arrested and he's put in a diversion program and everything's happy. And one bright day, his daddy gets a notice of seizure of his house. And it's like, now think about it, this is a gold mine. A gold mine. You can seize a house, not a vehicle. They seize the house. And it goes on to say that there's no judiciary involved. It all ends up in the office building of City Hall in room 457, where the police department and the city attorneys, all acting civilly, make you, the defendant, prove your innocence. And then it goes on to say, in 2012, the city of Philadelphia filed 8,000 forfeiture complaints. Their average recovery was $550 a pop. That's $4 million. The forfeiture fund, since it was the forfeiture law, since it was instituted, has funded the city $65 million. And there's an incentive for forfeiture because what it says, if the police seize, the police department gets to keep all the money. So there is something, I mean, how far could you take nuisance? Could you take an airplane? That's a vehicle. Can you take bicycles? Could you get Lance Armstrong's 20,000 bike? I mean, where can we go with it? We have cornered the 1978 Cadillac motor vehicle part of southern New Mexico, so we've turned them into classics. We're the only people that have 78 Cadillacs, so if you're looking for one, come see us. And we got some good ones. And I guess we'd also say we're not dealing with the Beamer crowd so much. We deal with just down-to-earth human beings that have their cars seized. And one we had was a guy, and we always try to get every once in a while, like, maybe a good car, and there was a stakeout at a bar, and this guy drives up in a 2008 Mercedes, brand new, just so beautiful. It just, I mean, the cops were undercover, and it was like, ah! And he gets out, and he's just reeking of alcohol. And it's like, oh my goodness, we can hardly wait. So he goes in the place, and they refuse to serve him because he's drunk. So what he does, he pulls out his credit card and he buys drinks for everybody. He says, I want you to know that I'm not drinking, it's for you. So he does, and our police are just excited as they can be. And he walks outside, and just as he's about to touch the car, our police officer goes, whack, you're under arrest. For what? Being drunk while driving. And he didn't have control of the vehicle. You don't have to drive a vehicle in New Mexico to control it. Sleep in it, lay on it, do whatever you want. And so we thought, damn, we got a 2008 Mercedes-Benz. This is going to go to auction. This is going to be great. We can put all of our junk out there, and this will be the big seller. And lo and behold, we finally get the facts that he didn't have control. And so we have to, like, gulp, and back goes his car. Because we didn't, it was drunk. He's had previous drunks, but he just didn't, we didn't wait. We should have left the door open, sat down, hello, pop. Then we'd been all right. And you've got to realize when you seize a motor vehicle, you can arrest the person for a broken taillight, whatever it is, and then the police run him on the scan or on their computer, and that's where you find out if his license is revoked, what have you. We're in there basically on the public nuisance statute. The statute is also there, 3-18-7, which is the nuisance statute, which gives you the right to define nuisance. And what you want to do in your ordinance is make sure you have a public nuisance, not just a so-called private nuisance or nuisance. You want to call it a public nuisance because a public nuisance is decided as a question of law, not as fact. And a public nuisance affects much of the community as opposed to just a few people. And a so-called nuisance in fact is a question for the jury. And this, of course, is, if it's a question of law, it stays with the judge. Since it's a municipal ordinance, by the way, there is no jury trial. Many times in this process, the person will say, well, I beat the reason I got arrested. And the issue is, we don't care why you got arrested. What we care about is, did you have a conviction? And if you have a conviction and we have probable cause to seize your car or your vehicle, forfeit, we will do so. And the issue here is seizure, forfeiture. We temporarily seize it, and then it's forfeited in court. And the in-court procedure, by the way, it's like a quiet title suit. You sue everybody involved in the matter, like the record owner or whoever's involved. They all have to come into court. You fight it out in court. If we win, we end up with clean title. We can take our court order, go to Department of Motor Vehicles, get a title, and when we sell it at auction, it's sold with basically a clean title. If it isn't, we sell it as is. We've never had any instance where the court has ordered us to turn a vehicle back to a dealer or an owner. We've been successful, as the statistics show here, roughly 96% of the time. The other 4 or 5% that we deal with, we make deals and settle out the lawsuit. We've tried to make it so that everybody is intertwined. The police department, they run the hearings. We don't have attorneys go to the hearings unless there's some exceptional circumstance, like, pardon me, the defense bar will show up and all of a sudden start to raise the Constitution in 65 different shapes or forms. Then we'll go and argue there. But the issue before the hearing officer is not the constitutionality of the seizure, or do we have probable cause to seize it? And under our ordinance, if you have one of the 5 or 6 items, then we can seize it. And again, you've got to realize that we're seizing it because of that, not because of why you were arrested. If you're arrested for a broken taillight, that's totally different. And if we had probable cause for that, and even if that's dismissed, we're still there on the seizure part or the forfeiture part. One last comment. I got to thinking this morning in the paper, everybody is running around liberalizing marijuana or thinking about it, putting on a ballot, taking off a ballot. And I thought, boy, what a trap. You liberalize marijuana so somebody can sell it. They sell the marijuana out of the house. Then you seize the house, which is like, $10 of marijuana, and you get a $300,000 house. What a deal. I mean, that's really exciting. And going back to, again, the Philadelphia case, I mean, I was amazed. 8,000 cases in 1 year, $500 a pop is just a mind blower. I mean, that's $4 million. Just think what you could do as the legal department. We could be czars.